So I'm going to give you this commentary in a second. Real streaming. They don't do this on regular TV. Okay, sometimes I like reading opinion pieces because sometimes it puts together words that maybe you can't, and then maybe to bring up a conversation that people just are not popular in dealing with. So there was this lady by the name of Sharon Hurley Hall, and she wrote, Black people are not your problem to solve. Racism is. And no matter what, we don't want to accept it, but racism is out there no matter what. But I'm going to read her article and you can tell me what you think. So her name is Sharon Hurley Hall. And she says, Black people are not your problem to solve. Racism is. I am an anti-racism educator and activist, co-founder of Mission Equality, the author of I'm Tired of Racism, and co-host of the Introvert Sisters podcast. So she starts. Hello, friends. I'm continuing my short series of reboot posts from the archives. Here's today's post. Black people are not your problem to solve. Racism is. I can't remember when I had this epiphany, but it was born out of my discomfort with some of the language around ending racism. Some would-be allies can't help falling into white savior mode. Some would-be allies can't help falling into white savior mode, and more than that, they fail to understand where racism comes from and focus solely on isolated incidents rather than systems. Don't get me wrong, it's good that they're doing something, but sometimes they go about it the wrong way. As always, I speak for myself, and please know that there are Black people right now who will think I'm wrong. That's okay, because we are not a monolith, and I never claim to know everything. Okay? Remember, this gets a little worse. Okay. Sometimes when I have a conversation with a white acquaintance about racism, it goes something like this. I share a painful experience, then either they commiserate and express guilt, shame, or disbelief about their fellow white people, or they start exercising the intention of the abuser, because racism is abuse. Right now, this is me. Think about that. Is racism abuse? Now back to the letter. And blaming or gaslighting the victims of racism. Neither of those is helpful. Expressing guilt or shame doesn't benefit people, most influenced by racism, in fact. Black and brown people sometimes find ourselves sidetracked from expressing or healing our own traumas in order to solve white people's hurt feelings. Is that true? My question mark. Now back to her. Note that I am not saying that you shouldn't be sorry, but ask yourself what the end goal is and how you deal with that sorrow. Is it to make yourself feel better or to improve the situation for people suffering from racism? Wow. I once had to post on LinkedIn, and I've got a couple people saying, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Is it to make yourself feel better or to improve the situation for people suffering from racism? Back again. I once had to post this on LinkedIn after hearing of yet another example of white comfort being prioritized over doing the right thing for Black and brown people. It happens a lot. This belief is equally unhelpful because it often feels like white people haven't been listening to what we've been saying about racism for decades. And would-be allies are not even hearing us. The road ahead feels even longer. Wow. And as a victim blaming, let me say this one more time for the people in the back. I'm an expert in living with racism, so if I say I've experienced it, it's neither my imagination nor my fault. I perfectly agree on that. It's essential to realize that the problem of racism is not just about hurt feelings, it's about system exclusion from the best the country has to offer. Housing, education, job prospects, voting, medical treatment, you name it. This is me again. So exclusion. We may have a little of everything, but not a lot of everything. Okay, back to the letter. The problem of racism is not black people, it's the system of white supremacy and racial oppression we're all living in. As a would-be ally, it's essential to take responsibility for the way that you benefit from that system and then share the privilege and the wealth, sometimes literally. What I really want is for would-be allies to do something to help dismantle the system that makes racist actions possible. And yes, I know that dismantling centuries-old racist machinery is a pretty tall order. Yes, it is. But you don't have to do it all yourself, and you don't have to do it alone. Start where you are and take action today to make things better. Thanks for reading. And that's Sharon. So do you agree with that letter? Racism. Sorry about that. Systematic. Is it there? Do you really believe it's there? Is there a difference between, okay, they say light skin and dark skin racism? And how can you tell, and I'm asking white people, that another white person is racist? Let's hope in the year 2024 that there's less racism. And anything. Racism could be racism against the Jews, racism against Chinese people, racism against Arab and Muslims, and of course racism against African Americans. I would like to know, what is your take on that racism? Again, hit the like and share button, and please subscribe. And if you're not watching it live now, do the rewatchable and comment then. Let me know what you think. Contact number 216-702-3718, 216-702-3718. And live chat me. Email address is parkerman2222@gmail.com, parkerman2222@gmail.com.